Hi guys, good morning. Can you hear me?
Hi Sham, good morning. Yeah, able to hear me.
Okay. So anybody have any doubts? Any questions? Any doubts? Any questions, guys? Good to go. Next topic.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So let me start. Okay. So next topic is very important topic, that is pipelines. Okay. So what is meant by pipelines? Nothing but it's a sequence of steps. So in freestyle jobs, currently we have seen only the freestyle jobs. Now when they come to the pipeline jobs, there are in interview questions, an interview perspective, they will ask it. So what type of pipeline you have worked on it? Okay. So when it comes to the pipelines, we have different type of pipelines are there. So one is a freestyle. So when you click on the new item from the Jenkins side, these are called as a pipeline types. Okay. Job type. So you can, anybody can work on the freestyle projects. They can also work on the pipeline. Folder based, multi-branch, okay, multi-configurations. So only few options are seeing here because this is not a licensed version, but in the real-time scenario, other options also will be there. Okay, so most important thing in the Jenkins is going to work on the pipelines. Pipeline is nothing but little bit kind of a script will be there. So it has a proper syntax will be there. So pipeline is nothing but from start to end, your entire DevOps life cycle. Okay, so what is your DevOps life cycle? So all this DevOps life cycle, you have various phases are there. Okay, so code checking. Okay, so we have multiple stages are there. Okay, so if you take one stage, one first stage is we are going to take the node machine. For example, I want to run this particular job or this particular project into one single node. So in the first step in the pipeline is node. Means I want to run this particular code. I want to run build steps in a particular server or node machine. So that is the first step in the pipeline. Okay. Second step is everybody is going to work on the code. Means I need to check out the code. So first step in the DevOps life cycle is we need to check out the code. So once the code is able to check out, we are going to do the proper authentications. So Jenkins is a separate server, Git is a separate server. We need to have authentication. Either we need to provide your username or token, or we can authenticate. Okay, anyway we can use it to authenticate. Here we are using the public repository. So that's the reason we are not giving any credentials or anything. So in the real-time scenario, it will be private repository. So private is nothing but within the organization only we can access it. Outside, if you come out from the organization, if you are not going to able to see the URL in the public. Okay, so everybody can do any changes. So that's the reason there are two types of repositories are available. So one is public and private. So once the code checkout is done, we need to build the code. So building the code is nothing but first step is code checkout. So next is we need to build the code. So once the code has been built, so we need to perform some commands. What are those commands? So that commands we are going to call it as a code analysis tools. Code analysis is nothing but whether the developers are properly written the coding standards and what are the jars which are using for the project. So it may cause vulnerability. Vulnerability is nothing but security threats. So there are some third-party tools are available to scan each and every file and each and every code which are present in the which developers are writing. So those type of tools we are going to call it as a code analysis tools. So it will analyze the entire code and it will smells the code and it will read the code every each and every line of the code. The developers are not following the proper coding standards and any jars, any extra third party things which are using in the project, everything will be reported at this tool. Okay, those type of analysis we are going to call it as a code analysis tools. So one of the code analysis tool for the Java based one is a SonarQube. Okay, so SonarQube is one of the code analysis tool. It will scan each and every line of the code and it will give the report for our project. So how many errors are there in the code? Okay, all these things will be analyzed in the code analysis. So once the code is analyzed, okay, so next we are going to perform the preparing the images. Imaging is nothing but suppose we are going to deploy this application, or once you build the code, we are getting the final output. So the final output we are going to call it as a packaging. So those kind of a packaging we are going to perform and we'll get the final output as a var, right? So that var where we are going to deploy. So that deployment happens in the application servers, either JBoss, Tomcat, or WebLogic. Okay, so those type of activities we are going to perform. So in the single step, we are going to use the Docker. Okay, so in the upcoming sessions, we are going to discuss about the Docker. So we will discuss one by one tool all at a time, and finally we will see the how to do all the tools integrate and how to deploy the project with automation and without manual works. Okay, so those things we'll see at the end. Now we are going to learn each and every individual tool. So the pipeline syntax will be like code check-in, build the code, performing the SonarQube commands, and next preparing the custom image. So Docker completely deals with the images and containers. So we are going to prepare a custom image. Custom image is nothing but, so we are going to write some Docker files. So in the Docker file, it contains predefined steps to prepare the custom image. So in that image, what type of steps you want to write? You want to install Java with Tomcat and deploy this application, and our application will be up and running. So all this from the code check-in to the deployment, application deployment, all the steps we are going to performing in a single job. That job we are going to call it as a pipeline job. So if you want to perform this activity, so this activity we are going to call it as a one stage. So secondly, if we are performing one activity, so the logical part will perform under the steps. So the second step we are going to perform in another stage. Like that, it is has a all the stages. So all the stages will be looks like this pipeline symbol like this. Stages. Okay. So one after the other we are going to perform it. So first is cloning the project, next building the project, performing the SonarQube, preparing the top image, deploying the application. Okay. So all these things activities we are having a one stage after other stage. Okay, so don't worry about the syntax and don't worry about the logical part. Everything will be available, just we need to organize it. Okay, so let me give the example, then you can understand clearly. Okay, so now next item we are going to discuss about the pipeline example one. Take in the pipeline. Okay, so freestyle and this one is completely different. You can see only three options: general, advanced, and pipeline. So here you are going to work on the two things are there. So we can directly write the script here, pipeline script, or we can write the Jenkins file. Okay, so one Jenkins file is there. So the syntax, always the file name should be Jenkins file, and we can write the logic there also. we can write the logic in that particular file. Okay. And always we will maintain this file in source code management. Okay. So instead of opening the Jenkins job every time I updating the code, so somebody what will do? So they will use the Jenkins file in the source code management. So the reference of the Jenkins file, we are going to give in the job. Okay. So this is the way we can use things. Okay. So here is the script we need to write it. So how the script line looks like, you can go here. This is the official website. Okay. So this is the development to the production, how it would be looks like. This is a start stage. So this is the complete workflow. Okay. So workflow starting here, the stages. First one is checkouting the code. Next stage, we are building the code. So next, if any test cases are available, we are going to perform the test cases. Finally, we are going to deploy it. Okay. So this is the workflow start and workflow end. So in the middle, so we can integrate other things. In test cases, we have any integration test 1, integration test 2, integration test end-to-end testing. So all this is the sub stages and sub stages things. Okay. Inside the testing, if you want to perform multiple activities, so we can this way. This is the main workflow. So how the pipeline syntax will be there. So you can click here. Okay. So there are some examples are available here. So we can take these examples and we can try these examples. Okay. So if you want to display like this, hello world, I want to just display one hello world. Okay. So this is the pipeline syntax. Okay. So in interview questions or somebody, if you are attending any interview, so they will ask, can you write a sample pipeline script for me? Okay. Code check it, how the build happens, how you are pushing it, how what is your sonar cube steps. Okay. So exactly what type of pipeline it is. Okay. So they will ask in the interview questions. So this is the normal pipeline syntax. Pipeline agent. So how many agents are available? So it will pick the agent name here. So if you want to go with specific agent name, so every agent will have the label name. So that label name, instead of any place, you can pass the label name. Okay. So stages. So what stage name we want to give it. Okay. So this is for user can understand the name. So that name we can give it. So under the steps, we can write it. Okay. So just nothing will be there. Remember like this. Pipeline agent label name. Okay. So stages, stage, steps. That's it. 3 things will be there. Everything it will be same only. Okay. Stages, stage, steps. So for every open bracket, there will be closed brackets. So for everything, it will be like this. Okay. Stages, stage and steps. So inside the steps, we are going to perform our logical part. So what kind of activity you want to perform it, all the activities will be available in the set. Okay. So if you want to perform another one, so just to copy the stage where it is open bracket and closed bracket, here is the ending of that one. So we will write one more stage. I want to clone the project. Clone project. Here we are performing the steps. Under the steps section, we are going to perform the logical part. So another stage, if you want to do it, so take one more stage. Cloning the project. Build. Build step, I want to perform it. So I want to perform. Okay. I want to clean it. I want to compile the project. want to package it. Okay, so nothing. How many steps you want to write it? So the pipeline is nothing but it contains a stages, and each stage will contain the steps, and each stage will be like what type of activity you want to perform it. All the things we are going to place in step section. Okay, so if you don't know, if somebody asks about something, if you don't know the syntax and everything, so don't worry, everything will be available here also. Suppose if you want to perform the Git operations, if you want to perform the shell scripting activities, if you want somebody asked about something, it is new to you. Okay, so here we have one more option called pipeline syntax. Click the open the link in the new tab. Okay, so here what are the steps we are going to perform it? All the steps we have it. Okay, so these many activities we can perform with pipeline. Okay, for example, if you want to use shell scripting, so search for the shell scripting here. Any shell scripting syntax, they will have it. So they will share the script. So if you want to perform the Git related activities, you can check the Git related activities. Okay, so if you perform any shell scripting, so shell scripting, if you want to write anything, we need to use sh. Okay, so if you want to perform any shell scripting, we need to define like this sh double quotes. Okay, what are the things you want to perform the shell scripting? So that given that we need to include sh. Then in the double quotes, what type of script you want to perform it, the command you want to perform it, we can perform it. So for example, if you want to perform any Git related activities, select the Git. Okay, so Git, they are using like this. So if you want to have any repository URL, so we have our repository URL. Suppose this is one our Git URL. Okay, take this code, copy paste here. Okay, so if you have any credentials, we can add the credentials. So generate pipeline script. So if you want to include your Git in your project, this is the syntax. Take this like this. I want to include Git project in my thing. So if you have any credentials, so if you want to authenticate with any credentials, there is options called credentials. So click on add credentials, something username, password I'm giving testing, and password also I'm giving testing, ID as some testing. Okay, so Git username and password is there, add. Okay, so now I'm using the username and password also generate. Okay, so this is the way we need to add it. If you have any credentials, so we can get. Okay, so Git credentials ID is this one and URL is this one. That's it. Okay, so if you are going to perform any kind of activity, they are going to ask it. Everything will be available here. Just we need to know the syntax for it. For example, if you want to add new things. Okay, so if you want to write Windows Bash, if you want to build any job. Okay, project to be built, take any job. I want to build some project. So this job only I'm going to take it. Okay, so generate pipeline script. Okay, so this one like this. So if you use this command build pipeline example one, instead of clicking the build now option through pipeline, if you want to build the job, so we need to tell in the interview perspective, we need to use the build and the job name. Like that for every activity. So the syntax will be available just based upon our activity. We need to take like this and update your n number of steps we can write it, not only single one. If you want to write 10 steps, 50 steps, so we can perform all the steps under the each stage under the steps, we need to write the logical part. Okay, so based upon the activity, we need to take the syntax and we need to provide the value. They will give the value from the syntax. Just add it. I want to click on the build now option of this job. So instead of clicking the build now option manually, so through pipeline jobs or through script, if you want to do it, so we can use build command and the name of the job in the single quotes. Okay. So like that, you want to perform it, any type of activity, we can do it. Okay. So if you want to any error exist, the file exists or not in the current workspace, if you want to check it. Okay, file path, something like where lib Jenkins. So in this path, I want to check it whether the file exists or not in the workspace. This is a requirement. So you can click on the generate pipeline scripts. So file exists is the function. So the default function which was provided by the Jenkins. So it will check whether the file is available or not in the particular folder or not. Okay. So like that, we can work on any all these activities, we can perform it. Okay. So one of the important questions they will ask is parallel. Okay. So this is very important. Parallel. Like this. Okay. So what is meant by parallel is, so if you want to execute 2, 3 jobs at a time parallelly. Okay. So first job I want to run, second job I want to run, third job I want to run parallelly. So this is one of the important interview question they will ask. Most of the interviews they will ask this question. Okay. I want to run these 3, 4 jobs at a time. So what is your syntax? So parallel is the keyword we need to use it, and parallel branch name. Okay. So if you want to run the multi branches at a time, so we have one single project. So in this single project, I have master branch, develop branch, future branch, release branch, like that multiple branches are available. So I want to run all the branches code at a time. So then we need to use the parallel first branch. It's a first branch, we need to do branch name. Same thing, comma, second branch place, we can give the second branch name. Fail first. If it is in fails, if you want to do any activity, like this. Okay. So parallel is the keyword we need to use it to perform multi branches code build. Okay. So here, if you want to, for this branch, if you want to perform many steps, we can do like this. Okay. Okay. So this is the pipeline syntax. So it is very, very useful. So most of the 90% of the companies currently they are using the pipeline jobs. Okay. So some companies were following the freestyle jobs. Some companies they are doing the build and deployment jobs with freestyle jobs. Somebody using the plugins, somebody using the template based. But 90% of the companies they will ask for the, have you written the pipeline script? Pipeline script, if they are asking it, so they will ask us to write the pipeline script. Okay. So this is the pipeline script syntax and what activity they are asking it. So you need to go to the pipeline syntax and get that respective syntax, and we need to include it. We need to test it, finally make the build success. Okay. So for example, I want to print one message here. I want to clone my project. Okay. I don't have any credentials. This time removing it. Okay. So I want to build, don't want to build anything. Okay. So next I want to include shell scripting. Shell scripting, I want to clean the project. I want to perform one more thing. So this is sample syntax I'm giving. So I'm using multiple things. We want to perform any commands. I want to get something like git version. Okay. So all these things we can take like this, Control C, and we can go to our pipeline job, Control R, Control V. Okay. So like this. So first thing is in the first stage, just we are printing the hello message And next thing is we are taking the project code and we are performing some build steps, clean steps, compiling steps, packaging steps. So what is your logic here is under the steps section, what type of logical you want to perform it, all the steps we can write. If any error comes, we need to fix it. Okay. So like that, we can apply it, save it. Click on build now. Okay. So once you click it, it will be looks like this. Okay. Now you can see the job is success. So if you see the same thing only, so how we are performing the job, same thing only, the commands and everything, we are running one by one step here. Only the difference is we are organizing as a pipeline script. That's it. Click on configure option. This is the syntax. Okay. So anything you want to include extra things, take this script. Okay. So what are the scripts you performed it? Click on the console output. We check it for Java. Okay. So currently we have performed the command Git versions, Java versions, clean activity we have performed it. And next we are doing the packaging. We got the pack. Okay. So in this way, we can write the pipeline. So in the interview perspective, they will ask it. So can you write the sample pipeline script for me? Okay. So if somebody asks you to, can you write a cloning project? Can you push the artifacts? How we are going to push the artifacts? Okay. If you want to archive the artifacts. So files to be archived. Okay. So here they are expecting for any interview questions, they are going to expecting the function name. So if somebody archive the artifacts, what type of artifacts I want to archive means, so we need to tell archive artifacts, the artifacts, what is the file name, this is the syntax, we need to include in our steps. Where you want to include, it depends upon you. So here we need to come here under the step section. So we can write multiple lines, wherever you want to write it, anything we can put it. Okay. So if somebody asks you to run the multi-branch, means parallel, I want to build or I want to take the code of multiple branches. So we need to use the parallel. Okay. So like that, we need to get the steps and understand the requirements and perform that under the step section. Okay. So at what step we need to add it. Okay. So like that, we need to write the Jenkins code. Same thing if you are putting the same thing whole code into the file. Okay. So that file, instead of opening the job every time, updating the syntax, instead of updating the syntax here. So what we will do? So every time we will do in from local machine and we will take any sample code. There we will upload our creatable Jenkins file and upload the code in the same code we can apply into the code. Okay. So for example, this is file. Okay. So type should be file. Open in the notepad++. Okay. So it's empty. Take this file, save the Jenkins file. Same code. So instead of writing in the pipeline job, what we can do? So here one more option is that pipeline. So pipeline script from SCM. SCM is nothing but source code management. So it is our source code. So in the source code management, it is expecting the URL. So copy the URL. Okay. So in this part, it is looking for the at master branch, it is looking for the Jenkins file at the root path. Okay. So if the path is varies somewhere. Okay. So here the Jenkins file should be here only. Okay. If the Jenkins file is not there here, so if it is any under any particular path, we need to give the entire path. Okay. So click on the add file, upload files. Click to choose your files. Go to the downloads, Jenkins file. Okay. So Jenkins file got uploaded. Click on commit changes. Okay. So now we have uploaded Jenkins file just now. Okay. So in this file, if you open it, yeah. Okay. So don't worry about in the real-time scenarios if you are going to work on the existing pipeline, existing project. So they will always share the Jenkins file with you. Okay. So if you share the Jenkins file, so go through stage by what they're exactly doing. This stage what they're doing. So up to understand here only. Okay. Once you are able to understand these things, then next go to the next stage, what they are going to perform. So if it is okay, then try to understand what they're doing in the next stage. Okay. So if somebody using any keyword called with parallel, archive with artifacts, something the terminology they are using it. So check for that terminology here. Okay. So archive in the artifacts, vintage batch script if you want to do, if you want to build any job. So if you want to catch the errors, try and catch block. So if you want to catch any failure or success case, so if you want to do the message. Okay, so here this is the syntax. Catch the error and what type of message you want to put it. So that message is something goes wrong and you want to write any logic here. So we can write the catch block. Try catch back is nothing but, so if the syntax or any output is not getting, then if you have any problem with the snippet, then we will get catch the error. Okay. So like that, everything is active. Checkout. If you want to do the checkout the code from anything, I want to do the checkout option. Instead of using the git URL, directly I want to use the checkout option. Copy, give the URL. Okay. So if you have any credentials, you can view the credentials and click come here and generate the pipeline script. Okay. So this is the checkout thing. Okay. So no need to remember each and everything. So this one we no need to use. Okay. Checkout. The class is the git.scm class and branches. We don't have any extensions. So credentials, we are using some credentials here for authenticating it. And this is the URL. Okay. So by seeing this thing, we should be able to understand. So somebody in the real-time scenario, instead of using this thing, if somebody is using the checkout, so what exactly the checkout will come here and try to explore the checkout. Okay. So check out what exactly will do. Okay. So if you want to delete your workspace when the build is done. So whenever you are doing any job, so it will create a workspace in the particular path, Jenkins path. And if you want to delete that workspace once the build is done. So this is a type of a cleanup activity. So clean WS is the function. That's it. If you include this function inside your script. Okay. So once your activity is done at the end, if you put like this, so it will clean the current workspace of this particular job. Like that, multiple options are available in it. So just we need to know the logical part and how to include it and what is the syntax for it, we should know. Okay. So if you want to file exist file build, okay, JUnit test cases, unstable build. Okay. So if you want to set any environment variables, okay. Okay. So this is the keyword. So if you want to set your own environment variables, so we need to use keyword called with environment. Okay. So like that. Something like Maven, Tomcat, Java version, if you want to include that as a variables here, Java variable, Maven variable, if you want to include it. So in your pipeline, so there is no pickup values will be there. So everything we need to write in the pipeline only under the stages. Okay. So with the environment is the keyword we need to use it. This is the key and this is the value. If you want to include multiple values, so comma, another one. Comma, another one, like that. Okay. Like that, we need to include multiple things what based upon the requirement we should able to understand it. Okay. So like that, these are the things pipelines. This was officially given by the Jenkins website. Okay, so don't worry about the pipelines index. Click on the pipelines index, and these many activities we can performing it. Okay, so in the interview questions also they will ask these things only. Most of the questions they will ask it about the how to use the environment variables, how to bind your credentials to variables, and how to run the multi branches at a time. Okay, so that is parallel keyword. Okay, so most of the interview questions they will ask these things only. Parallel. This is the, okay. So this one we can do the pipelines. Okay. So anybody got any doubts?
Can you run that pipeline again and show how does it work?
Yeah.
You know that.
So this Jenkins file already we have written. So already that we have uploaded here. So we have taken the pipeline symbol, applied and save it. Okay. So nothing we have done. So go to the job and open your Jenkins file. So source code management, we can generally all developers will prefer Jenkins file because they have integrated the Jenkins file to their local and they can easily do it. Okay. So now we can click on the bill now option. So second bill will be started. So how much time each stage it is taking out. And the latest one shows here. If you have any issues, it will show at the red color mark. Okay. It will stop here. Okay. So let us see that example also. Okay, so second build is success. You can see the build number over here. So like that it will come. So if you have any problem with, okay, so this just I'm including it. Edit the file. We don't given any branch name, first branch, second branch. Okay, just commit. So instead of giving these things, we will remove some syntax. Okay, so next again click on the build now. Okay, so that pipeline got failed. We have to check the same thing. Click on the console output. An error. Something. Okay, so like that, wherever we get the error, it will show the error. Okay, so we need to come here, update the files. Commit the changes. The next, come to here, build pipeline, build out. So like that, and these two commits happen. So click on fourth job is success. Okay, so here we can give the any naming conventions, we can give it n number of steps we can write in the particular stage. Okay, so if you see like this, don't worry about if you see the complex one. I'm not able to understand what exactly do means. So this is get from the snippet. Okay, we have the tool is generated is there. So the syntax will be pre-generated. Just we need to update few values from here. Okay, if somebody asks about the branch means this is a branch name and URL means we need to update the URLs. That's it. If you have any credentials IDs, you can pass the credentials ID. Okay, so like that we need to update a thing. Okay, so clean workspace if you want to do it, you can include this function. at the end, we can commit changes. Click on below. Okay, so like that. So we need to add our code in the jobs. Come here. Okay, so up to here we have written the build. Next we have added cleanup, workspace cleanup. Okay, so workspace deleting project workspace default by please route done. The build is success. Okay, so here from the syntax we need to get the exact what you require. So based upon the things we need to get it, and we need to include that in the steps. Okay, so coming to the two types of pipelines are there. So two pipelines will deals with the pipeline agent stages will be there. So in interview perspective they will ask it. Okay, so two types are there. One is declarative, B scripted. Okay, so declarative is nothing but both them will condense stages, steps, but here most of the work we are going to do with scripts. Either shell scripting or bash scripting we will use it. But here in the scripted pipeline, only the difference is we are going to work with grooving. Okay, so here groovy will be there. So here we are going to take shared libraries. Okay, so what is meant by shared library? For example, they will define one function. For example, add is the function is there. Okay, so they will expecting two variables in this one, and they will perform logic here. A plus B. Okay, so written. So this is a one type of a function they will define it. So this function, what we will do, it is adding the two numbers. Def is the keyword for the function name. Function definition, this is the function name, and they're expecting two values, and we are returning the value for it. Same thing, this is called as a one type of a library. So if you want to perform this type of logic inside your pipeline, instead of writing the logical part here, already somebody has developed the logical part. So just we need to include the library at the rate of library name, and directly we can call this function, and we can pass the parameters. What are the parameter values it is expecting? We need to pass the dynamic parameters here. Okay, so coming to the syntax, how it looks like. Here we don't get much more. Okay, here is the scripted one. So scripted one is a little bit complex when compared to the declarative. So declarative, we can easily understand it. So there is a predefined functions are there, like with environment, parallel keyword, git, checkout, like that we have the, but in the scripted pipelines, a little bit complex things is there. So they will ask the things. Okay, so this is the, suppose if you want to go with a particular branch name. So we need to know the same thing only. So if you want to include the shell scripting, everywhere it's same only. Stages, inside the stage we will write it. Okay, here what they are doing. So environment keyword they are using. If environment dot branch name. This is a okay. So here most of the thing they are going to work on a Groovy script. Groovy script is a one type of a script. They have a proper syntax. Okay. Directory creation. If you want to run shell scripting, we are using SH. For bash scripting, we need to use the BAT. Same thing, almost it will be same only, but few functionality it will be a little bit complex. Not much more.
But where is it accessing the @libraries? You know, you said it is accessing the libraries.
Yeah, let me show that one only. Libraries one. Yeah, you can see here. Okay, so some lib, they are using some libraries here. So this is the written, like something they will like a function here. This is the creating the library, completely library. They are defining the like this. So this is a developer perspective, the person who is into the development activity. So they can create their own libraries. This logical part we are not able to understand, but in the Jenkins pipeline, we are going to use like this library, my library name. So in this library, what type of function they are expecting. So that function name, we need to call that function name. Okay. So like this. So this is the def, they will use it. Let me give some more. Okay, so declarative pipeline, we have these things. Pipeline ages, stages, and steps. So when it comes to this declarative pipeline, so they will use most of the work, they are going to use the libraries. They're not giving much more example here.
So understood declarative, you know, not understanding this groovy part.
Yeah, Groovy part is like a little bit complex. Just I want to show that example only. So declarative one, we can easily understand. You can see the examples, right? I have given a couple of examples for it. So if you see here, declarative means, you know, stages. So if you want to go with multiple stages, you can go with one is get, sh, archival part, archive artifacts, which artifacts you want to push it, you can get it. This is declarative. But scripted one also we can go with the declarative one only. Only the complex one is libraries. So if you want to use the same kind of functionality, instead of developing the same functionality, we can go with the libraries. Okay. So that one they haven't given proper example here. So I'm also looking for.
So which is mostly used in the industry? Is it declarative or the scripted one?
Both we can go with. So both will do the same activities, code checking, building the code and deploying the code, both only. But only here is the scripted one. We are going to use the Groovy script. So it contains the libraries. Okay. So if somebody, the company has developed one library. So that library will help us to. So how we have using this functionality, right? In the pipeline syntax, we are using this syntax. Okay, so how they are generating this syntax? Same thing also for the shared libraries. We have the syntax is there. So that syntax, if you know, we can go with the scripted also. But that syntax will I'm getting it. So tomorrow I will show the example with scripted also. Okay. Don't
Okay.
worry. Okay. So declarative, if people got it, how to use the declarative pipeline? Declarative.
Yeah, we understood the concept and you showed us also. But maybe tomorrow you can just give a revision 5 minutes, how it is all done practically.
Yes. Okay. So just we need to generate the syntax and we need to
Sham,
upload. Yeah.
up to now everything okay, but Jenkins page is not opening. Can we use your page to do practice?
This one Jenkins server.
It is not opening. Jenkins page is not opening. Server not opening for me. All
Jenkins,
showing active running. Everything is okay, but it is not opening.
Jenkins
Already I
server
told
is
us. Yeah,
Jenkins server is not opening or
not opening.
means which is
Uh,
not opening. Your server is not able to access.
His
um,
UI is not opening, right, Krishna?
yeah, Jenkins page is not opening. I did all the things. Active running. I got active running also, but it is not opening.
Everybody is getting same issue. Correct.
Yesterday also I told. No?
Yeah, you told it, but if the problem with all people, I need to show the installation again. If you are only the person getting the issue, I need to check out. Everybody, anybody started Jenkins?
No, not yet. We should start.
Okay, anybody other team? Mahesh, Pooja,
I al
Ravani, Venkat, Aditya. Anybody
I already
installed?
opened, sir.
Okay, can you share your screen once? Let me make you a host.
This is office laptop, Sham. Not access. Uh,
So how
oh,
can we check it out?
I have another laptop. How can I share to the?
Tomorrow
Wait, I
morning,
will.
first up, you share it. Okay, tomorrow morning we'll start the class, right? So
Yeah,
the
okay.
first 5 minutes you can start sharing it. Okay.
Yeah, okay, Sham. Thank you.
Okay. Try to install Jenkins in your system, guys. So if all people are
Yeah,
facing the same issue, I will.
Sham, I did all the things. I installed Java. I installed Jenkins too. I got the active running tool in that putty,
Hmm,
but it is not opening.
hmm. Okay. So let me see in the tomorrow first. Okay. First, your issue will be resolved, then we'll go with the next topic, scripted one. Hmm?
Okay,
Okay.
Sham. Thank you, Sham.
Yeah. Bye.